Have you ever felt like you'll never be a good programmer? Or have you ever looked at someone and said, damn, that guy's a genius. I don't think I would have figured that out if I were him. Well, I'm gonna show you 3 traits that you can learn from the Primeagen that will hopefully help you bridge the gap between you and someone like him. The Primeagen is a very popular content creator who live streams himself coding and more recently reacting to other programming content. He used to be a software engineer at Netflix and he has a tremendous amount of experience and knowledge. But he wasn't always like this. So how are you different to the Primeagen? What makes him such a good programmer? Is it his GigaChad mustache? Is it the fact that he sounds like Steve Carell when he rants? Well, during my first year of university, I was assigned a small group project and I was able to quickly spin up a working prototype. Everyone in my group called me a genius. They put me on this unreachable pedestal as though I'd done the unthinkable. Was I smarter than them? Was I really an incredible, unsurpassable genius? The answer is no, of course not. I had been coding and making little programs since I was really young. On the other hand, they had only been exposed to programming on one other module in that semester. In other words, the only reason that the Primeagen's level might seem unreachable to you right now is just because he spent more time working on things of a similar nature to what you're struggling with currently. That's what enables him to make links in his brain that go a little bit like this. Oh, an array list in Java is similar to a vector in C++. So then he's able to intuitively figure out some of the functionality that might come with a data structure like that. This is a short clip from his video, which I'm going to show you in order to illustrate the fact that he wasn't always a good programmer, or even always good at school.
I didn't even know what I was doing. I was just like, I don't even know who I am anymore. So I do a little local programming class, some math, some core stuff to get out of the way. Hated it. And then I went to summer school, but I went up back to Montana State University. And something happened during this time. I did Calculus 1. You wouldn't know this from the story I've been telling so far, but I failed pre-calculus twice and barely passed the third time. So Calc 1, I'm like, there's no way. I'm probably not that smart to be able to do these things. And so every single day, after 3 hours of calculus class, which was 5 days a week, I'd go to the Math Learning Center, which was available 4 days a week, and be in there for 1 to 3 hours with the tutors. And by the third week, I was cruising. I was covered from head to toe in coconut oil. I was the #1 person in the class. Something clicked inside of me. And what it really was the realization, yeah, smarts will get you far, but hard work will get you further any day of the week. And I was just murdering it. By the end, we had a final, and it was a 2-hour-long test. I did it in less than 30 minutes and was the highest grade in the class. It's just like something happened. I was changed and I started to love school. I started to build this passion for learning, for wanting to pursue excellence, and it just kept happening. Every class I took, I kept being one of the best or the best at it every single time.
As you can see, the Primeagen says that he failed calculus twice and didn't think himself capable. It turns out he was, and the key to his success was lots of practice. So much, in fact, that he ended up being at the top of his class. He also mentions that he developed a passion for learning. Now, I watched a show called Heroes when I was a teenager, and my favorite character was called Sylar. Sylar had a very special superpower. It was called intuitive aptitude, and it was defined as the ability to understand the structure and operation of a complex system without special education or training. The only problem with this ability in the show is that it also compels the holder to understand as much as they can, resulting in a hunger for knowledge, which often leads Sylar to kill other people with powers in order to analyze their brains and understand what makes them tick so that he can acquire their powers. It's kind of like what I'm doing with the Primeagen right now. In the real world, this hunger for knowledge is a good thing. In fact, it's a necessity if you want to be a great software engineer, and the Primeagen knows this. He's always learning about new programming languages like Rust and Go. But how do you cultivate the hunger for understanding? Well, the hunger originates from the satisfaction of understanding something new. By breaking a task into small, achievable goals, you can stimulate more frequent dopamine release. A study published in the journal Nature found that dopamine neurons are activated as a reward prediction error signal, which means they respond not just to reward, but also to the anticipation of a reward. So I leave you with this quote: if money is your hope for independence, You will never have it. The only real security that a man will have in this world is a reserve of knowledge, experience, and ability. Another trait that is super important for software engineers is to have an intense amount of self-belief in the face of adversity. Take a look at this video by ThePrimeagen.
And so for me, every single problem that I faced at Netflix, I always thought I could do this. So a good example of this is when I was at Netflix, when I was very first at Netflix, my very first project was called Social Mountain, in which we integrated Facebook so you could recommend videos to other people and it'd pop up in the app and all that kind of stuff. And there was a front-end component to it and there was a back-end component to it. Now there's 3 people working on the project on the front end. I was one of those 3 people. And of the 3 people, no one wanted to do the back end. A, it was in Groovy, but B, everyone there was front-end engineers. And I was like, hey, I'll do it. I don't care. This should be fun. And so, of course, I start going through it. I absolutely dominated it because I didn't have a fear that I could or could not do it. I just had to learn everything and do it as best as I could. And guess what? In the end, I ended up finishing it way sooner than the other parts of the work. And my boss even said I moved the project up several months. And I really just did it because I wasn't scared that I could or could not do something. In fact, that one decision made my boss tell another boss, hey, I know you want to do this upgrade to our backend. Why don't we just let, Prime take care of it? And so I did do that. I did such a good job on that one that I started working in open source with Falcor. You can see that I'm the #1 contributor back when we used to do it. So that one small decision with the team where no one wanted to do it because they're like, wow, it's really hard. I don't like doing backend. I was like, dude, I'll do it. I'll crush this out. Opened up an opportunity, which allowed me to work on open source for multiple years, which allowed me the next opportunity, which allowed me the next opportunity.
I think you get the idea. But the other super important thing to highlight here is his perspective on taking on that new challenge. He could easily have said, no, I don't think I can work with Groovy. Groovy's garbage. Instead, he took a different perspective, which I want you to use every single time you start something that seems really challenging. And that is that whether the end result is good or not, the experience that you will get from taking on this challenge will far outweigh any negative that you might come across. If you found any value in this video, please consider dropping me a like. And for more videos on how to improve as a programmer, consider subscribing. Can you think of any other traits that you've seen in really good programmers? Let me know in the comments.